So hi, I'm Mike Cook. I teach on the music technology course. So my background is, after leaving uni, I was fortunate enough to get a job in a recording studio, and I learned a lot of my trade there. So I studied music technology, and then I was able to apply it in the actual workplace and working with clients, working with bands, working with orchestras, loads of different things, solo artists as well. And it was absolutely brilliant, and got to produce loads of different records and really sort of work with people to get a really good end products. And then after that, I started working for myself, working more mobile. So I'd take a studio out on the road and work with people outside. So I might work with choirs and schools, as well as keeping going with solo artists, and that was great fun. So I really enjoyed that. And that led into teaching, really. So teaching about the subjects and trying to teach people that, those practical skills that I picked up. And I love teaching it at sixth form. I think it's a brilliant age to really develop your skills as a musician and as a music technologist as well. So the music tech course, starting in September, will be focusing on, yes, the technology side, but also the musical side. That sounds quite obvious, really, but that's what we'll be doing. So we'll be using technology and equipment to make records. You'll be producing music on computers, on digital audio workstations. So you'll be using the software Ableton Live, which we've just brought into the college, which is industry standard. So you'll be making music in a variety of different styles. I love to keep it quite flexible, so that if you're really into one style of music, you can produce music in that style. We'll be using technology to do that, and you'll be basically being producers and making records. That's the main thing. Also, you'll be looking at live sound. So how do we use technology in the live environment? And there's a lot of crossover with the recording environment as well in that. So you'll be looking at how we set up mics for a drum kit, how do we mic up an amp. There's a little bit of theory, like how does sound work, and it's developing your technical ear. So you listen to how things sound. So how does that snare drum sound? How does that hi-hat sound? How do I make it sound better? How do I get a good sounding vocal in a live setting? And there's a crossover between the two. As you work in both areas, you'll get better as a music technologist, and you'll be able to produce better records and have better gigs, because you get the sound better. So in terms of external visits, our main thing is performances. So it's concerts, it's gigs. Obviously this year that's been a little bit curtailed because of COVID, but in the past the college has done loads and loads of things with local performance venues. So we've been able to play at places like Humber Street Sesh. We've been able to play at the Adelphi and things. In fact, we did that recently this week. We had a gig at the Adelphi. And it's just giving you that performance experience. So a lot of our students are performers as well, so they can go on and perform, but also we can help out with the tech side. So we'll be working with sound engineers and looking at how it works in the real world and what you need to do, and that practical knowledge. There's a lot of roots in the industry. A lot of people think it's there's not, you don't often see a job advertised for a sound engineer, but that doesn't mean we don't need the roles. A lot of the time it's about making connections and networking, and then getting jobs through people that you know. And we're really good at this college and helping you to do that, to make those connections. Both myself and my colleague Lewis. So what we do is, what a lot of our students do is they go on to work to university. That's a really good way to go, because you get to develop those skills even further. So you might I always say, try and go to a city university where there's a good music scene, and it gives you a lot of options of performance. So that could be Hull, it could be Manchester, Leeds, could be London. There's, our students kind of go all over, but if you can go on and develop those skills and make more connections, it really does help you. So we're looking at, over the summer, if you're getting ready for the course, is exploring music technology as a subject. So the main thing, the first thing I link to is a site on ableton.com, which sort of takes you through the basics of music production. You may have experience of this already, but it's a really good site for taking you through what goes into making a modern piece of music. So like we look at like drum beat creation, we look at bass lines and melody, those core aspects that transcend all genres really, whether you're doing rock music or pop music or trap music or even classical, these ideas sort of, they do like go for all genres. So it's looking at exploring that and how we put those elements together. And it's a really, really useful site. So that's kind of exploration. The other thing we sort of look at is, I'd like you to look at is reviewing a track. Look at a track that you really, really love, or a piece of music that you really, really love. I want you to do a bit of a review of it and actually think about like what makes that work. What are the technical things? Are there any effects that you can hear? Like, is there distortion on the guitars? Is there perhaps the effects on the vocals, perhaps that you can identify? Any track that you like, you can sort of identify that as well. And then the other task is talking about live sound and looking into live sound equipment and how that works. And actually, how do we set up for a gig?